Good Monday morning. Let's take a look at what we've lined up for you on today's show.
Today, Dr. Dan Thompson visits with Dr. Casey Olson, a professor of range beef cattle nutrition and management at K-State, about weaning calf strategies and nutrition. Learn the importance of managing intake in successfully weaning calves and the different strategies employed for programmed calves and retained calves. Dr. Olson will share details about the important first 5 days of weaning that significantly impact the outcome for these calves. Stay tuned for this and more after the break. Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff Progress, powered by Kansas farmers. Doc Talk, brought to you by the Beef Quality Assurance Program and the Kansas Beef Council, improving animal care and beef safety for more than 20 years.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's good to be here, Dan.
Well, it's always great to have you. What you do for our state, what you do for our programs, I'm very appreciative of it and appreciative of your friendship.
Well, and, nice of you to say so.
And today is the 100th episode of Doc Talk. So
I'm honored.
Well, me too. It's been a lot of fun, a lot of good shows, and this is a great one to have, especially with what we're facing this fall and in the industry. But we're going to talk about weaning calf strategies and nutrition. And we talked earlier, there's a question you got to ask right off the bat when you're going to develop your weaning calf strategy.
That's a fact. A producer comes to me and tells me he wants to precondition cattle to prepare them for market. The first question I'm going to ask is, are you going to own these cattle for any length of time past preconditioning, or are you going to sell them after you precondition?
Makes a difference then on which program you're going to pick or what you're going to do.
Absolutely. Okay. Now, for producers that choose to sell a calf right after the time that they complete preconditioning, they're pretty much bound by what programs the market will offer. Usually those involve 45 or 60 days of weaning, a specified set of vaccinations given with a specified timing, castration and dehorning, again, specified according to the recipe of that preconditioning program. If, however, a producer decides to retain ownership really for any length of time past weaning, there's a lot more flexibility, a lot more opportunities to maybe cheapen that preconditioning program than I think are appreciated.
So when if I'm gonna sell them, I need to follow the plan, the recipe, the program.
You do.
And make sure that I document what I'm doing is what I say I'm doing. And then if I'm gonna retain them, there might be some things in this plan that I don't need to do. There might be some things that are in this cookie cutter plan that I need to add that aren't included.
That's right. And all our research over the last 6 years at Kansas State University has indicated to us that if a producer retains ownership, that if they're going to feed in single pens, the degree of management that has to go into those cattle ahead of shipment to that feedlot, ahead of the receiving period, is actually quite a bit less that I think is generally appreciated in the industry.
So we're not talking that, and we'll get into more specifics, but we're talking about shortening up the time for that preconditioning program and maybe some of the antigens that we're pumping into these calves.
No, that's absolutely right. You're on target there.
So, this time of year, are you seeing more people weaning early and going into these programs?
Drought across most of the state of Kansas has been nothing less than profound this summer. Actually, for the first time in the last 7 years, we are at the K-State cow-calf unit are weaning early. We have to. Conditions dictate that we're running out of forage and we're running out of surface water.
It's a lot of surface water gone as I travel across the state and the rest of the Midwest. People are getting in there with their loaders and cleaning the silt out of those ponds.
The one good thing about losing that surface water is the ponds get cleaned. That's
well,
right.
We sure appreciate you having here. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to discuss more with Dr. Olson about weaning calf nutrition strategies. You're watching Doc Talk, and we're sure glad you joined us.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
ValleyVet.com, ValleyVet.com, Valley Vet Supply.
The Kansas State University College of Veterinary Medicine is a leader in food animal research and education. Our researchers are constantly expanding the knowledge of animal health and food safety. Through the Veterinary Health Center and the Kansas State Veterinary Diagnostic Lab, we provide practical services for animal producers. Home of the Beef Cattle Institute, the college is committed to animal welfare training and research. The Kansas State University College of Veterinary Medicine, knowledge and service for the future of animal production.
If our local animal agriculture industry disappeared, what else would disappear? The buses that get us to school? The playgrounds and ballparks we go to after school? The books and computers that help us learn and grow? Animal agriculture provides millions of dollars in tax revenue that pay for our school improvements, that pave the foundation that will build our future. A message from U.S. soybean farmers and their checkoff.
Purple Wave is a proud supporter of the Kansas FFA through the Bid for Blue program. Purple Wave donates a portion of the proceeds earned on certain ag assets to the Kansas FFA. Winning bidders can designate a Kansas chapter to receive the donation. To date, Purple Wave is proud to have donated over $10,000. Visit purplewave.com to learn more and to place bids on Bid for Blue assets. Purple Wave Auction. Straight, simple, sold.
If your company relies on business vehicles, it all comes together with Briggs Dodge Business Link with business vehicle financing. Business Link is a no-cost membership with advantages such as extended service hours, a dedicated staff, free loaners, shuttle service, and much more. It's about more than being in business. It's about doing business better, smarter, and more efficiently. Briggs Dodge Business Link is custom made for you. Call Briggs Dodge and let them show you how Business Link can help your business.
Kansas Pork Association, assisting producers and informing consumers.
Hi there and welcome back to Doc Talk. Dr. Dan Thompson here, and I'm joined by Dr. Casey Olson, who's a professor over in the Animal Science Department in the College of Ag here at Kansas State University, and we're discussing weaning calf strategies. And so, all right, we're going to have that maternal separation. What are some of the things that producers should have going through their mind or on their checklist, or what are we monitoring as we take those calves away from the cow?
I think with any endeavor, it's important to keep your eye on the ball. Remember what preconditioning is all about. Weaning is a stressful time. Calf is removed from its mother. Its diet changes. Its environment changes. The idea behind preconditioning is to try and take that stress in small steps so that it does not result in a disease episode, it doesn't result in non-performance of the calf.
So, watching these calves, come on, what are some of the indicators or things that you recommend?
Well, the name of the game, folks, for any species when it's newly weaned is getting that animal to eat. Now, it doesn't matter what preconditioning program that you choose, you will face a challenge in getting that young calf to change its diet successfully, to avoid disease, and to not miss any opportunities where performance is concerned. I tell you what, I've got some definite biases on how to manage intake of those newly weaned calves, and I'd be happy to share those.
Well, let's hear them. I think that's the reason why we have you on the show.
Okay, there's a conundrum. We assume that calves are going to want to eat more of the foods that are familiar to them. Forages, for example, would be familiar to a newly weaned calf. The downside of a diet that's familiar to a calf is that it tends to have a fairly low energy density relative to alternatives that we can put in front of them. Bottom line is we need to build a weaning diet that contains feeds that are both familiar to stimulate intake, and feeds that are unfamiliar to improve the energy and protein density of the diet.
And move them forward on those unfamiliar. You're going to have to come across them sooner or later.
That's right. Now, most people, when they think of a beef animal, they think that animal should be eating all that it can physically hold. Right. I don't ascribe to that school of thought at all. I think an animal that's given a diet in small doses that is presented in such a way that will stimulate that animal to clean up that feed that's offered and keep them properly nourished, but just a little bit hungry, okay, keeps them coming back to the bunk over time.
It really helped me out too on finding sick calves.
Yes.
Instead of pulling ugly, you're pulling sick.
That's right.
And an ugly calf will still eat, but a calf that's sick will stay away from the bunk. And if they're aggressive, it kind of helps on.
Sure. And if feed is not in the bunk 24/7, okay, that gives you the opportunity when the feed truck does come by, it gives you the opportunity to find out who's eager to eat and who's not.
Yep. And those ones that are hanging out in the back of the pen, we might ease in there and scoop them out and check out and see what's wrong.
That's right.
I think it's some great strategies. And when we come back, maybe we'll continue this discussion a little bit more.
Oh, I'd love to.
I'm sure glad you're here. We're sure glad you're watching too. You're watching Doc Talk, and we're really glad you joined us.
Here in Dallas, we're proud that our vehicles use an advanced biofuel called biodiesel. It's made from renewable resources like soybean oil, canola oil, even recycled cooking oil. This year, biodiesel will displace almost 1 billion gallons of fossil fuel nationwide. Our air is cleaner, our economy is stronger, and America's more energy independent. It's working here, it can work in your community. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
Come on by. We'll treat you like family.
Now another gardening tip with Annette Jackson.
Fall is the best time to plant trees and shrubs for optimum plant growth next year. Always use Fertilome Root Stimulator when transplanting for better root development. Fertilome tree and shrub food should be applied now on all your existing trees and shrubs.
Our fall shrub clearance is going on now. Choose from over $20,000 in new stock and save 25, 33, up to 40% at Jackson.
The Kansas State University College of Veterinary Medicine is a leader in food animal research and education. Our researchers are constantly expanding the knowledge of animal health and food safety. Through the Veterinary Health Center and the Kansas State Veterinary Diagnostic Lab, we provide practical services for animal producers. Home of the Beef Cattle Institute, the college is committed to animal welfare training and research. The Kansas State University College of Veterinary Medicine, knowledge and service for the future of animal production.
Nobody gives you more ways to play and more reasons to stay than Prairie Band Casino and Resort. 3 great restaurants, Players Club benefits, plus an award-winning golf course. Go for it. You'll find something new and exciting every day, just north of Topeka off Highway 75.
Prairie Band Casino and Resort. Go for it!
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply. We're raising a lot of heaven, the country parson.
Howdy, friends. Before fences, there was the brand. The symbol that identified a man's livestock was his brand. If their cattle didn't have the mark on them, someone else may dispute the cowboy's claim of that part of the herd. The cowboy made sure that their brand was on their herd, and the brand is a mark of an owner's value on that animal. The cowboy brands the calves to make claim on that animal as his herd. Adding to the herd has financial rewards later. In a spiritual way, the cross is the brand on the Christian. There's not another symbol that shows ownership on a believer more than the cross that Jesus carried to that hill. Jesus placed great value on each person by dying on the cross for their sin. When you accept Christ in your heart, you're branded. We get to share in the reward, branded in heaven. There's coming a day when we will be separated. We'll actually see 2 chutes, one to heaven, the other to hell. So tell me, are you branded today? Be encouraged.
Doc Talk, brought to you by the Beef Quality Assurance Program and the Kansas Beef Council, improving animal care and beef safety for more than 20 years.
Hi there and welcome back to Doc Talk. Dr. Dan Thompson here from Kansas State University, and I'm joined once again by Dr. Casey Olson, who's a professor of nutrition, ruminant nutrition, over in the Animal Science Department in the College of Ag, and we're talking about weaning calves. And
we are.
And now it's time to pull the rabbit out of the hat.
Okay, here's the rabbit, folks. Here's the rabbit. In the last segment, we talked just briefly about the idea of limit feeding a newly weaned calf from the standpoint of keeping that animal hungry and keeping him coming to the bunk aggressively. We also talked a little bit about blending familiar feeds and unfamiliar feeds in that weaning diet to help stimulate intake. This is the way I like to do it. I'm going to save a little bit of premium quality long stem hay for that first day that the calves are off of the cow. That goes into my bunk at a very modest rate of 1 pound per head, and underneath that 1 pound of forage per head, that premium quality forage, is about 1 pound of concentrate. Okay, the weaning diet that I'm hoping to adapt these cattle to. The idea is that the animal approaches the bunk, finds something familiar, eats down through that familiar feed, and eventually encounters that new diet and has an opportunity to sample it. Now for the first 3 days, that's pretty much how that diet is going to be offered. 1 pound of chopped forage, long stem chopped forage, premium quality, with increasing amounts of concentrate layered underneath it. After that 3rd day, I'm going to switch the order of those two things. Okay, the hay goes on the bottom, the concentrate goes on top, still just 1 pound of long stem forage. Okay, with each passing day, I am bumping the amount of concentrate feed that I'm offering to that calf approximately 1/10% of body weight. So, for example, if we're talking about a 500-pound calf here, I'm going to be bumping that feed allowance every day by about a half a pound. Half a pound.
Gotcha.
My goal, okay, when all is said and done, is that 10 days after weaning, that little beast is consuming 2% of its body weight of a diet that is designed to promote a 2-pound rate of gain at that intake.
Gotcha.
Now, I haven't finished, I guess, with my strategy. After day 5, the long stem hay completely comes out of the diet. And that animal is left with a complete concentrate-based diet that has the roughage in it. And by day 5 now, that animal's become acclimated to it and is consuming, if we work things on schedule, at a rate that will sustain its immune system, that will promote a modest amount of growth and help us to get that calf moving in a direction for a successful preconditioning program.
So 5 days we're done with the hay.
5 days.
3 days, the hay's on top, feed's on the bottom. Days 4 and 5, flip it.
Yes.
Hay's out, and then we move them up. What's the percent concentrate in that TMR?
That's going to be about a 70% concentrate diet. I like to have that diet blended with a non-forage roughage source to make it compact and easy to store.
What would be an example?
Conceed hulls, for example, would be a non-forage roughage source.
Good. Well, we know for a fact that getting those calves to eat is huge on predicting health and preventing health episodes from occurring.
Yes.
And I think it's a great strategy, one that a lot of people, I think, do use and will be using. Anything else?
Well, I guess the one thing that I could add is that, just to re-emphasize what Dan said, intake is the name of the game. Animals are going to perform, grow, milk, do everything in proportion to the amount and the quality of feed that they consume. If you can manage intake, you can manage any situation with beef cattle.
You're watching Doc Talk. We'll be back after the break.
Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, SureCrop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. SureCrop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose SureCrop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information.
Saddle up and head on down to Roy Fry Western Lifestyles, the finest complete Western store in Northeast Kansas. Look your Western best. Select from 3,000 pairs of boots, Western home decor, and accessories. Near the corner of Highway 24 and Kansas Avenue. Open till 6 during the week, 9 to 5 on Saturday, and Sunday noon till 4. Or you can always shop online. Western people serving your Western lifestyle. Roy Fry Western Lifestyles.
If our local animal agriculture industry disappeared, what else would disappear? The buses that get us to school? The playgrounds and ballparks we go to after school? The books and computers that help us learn and grow? Animal agriculture provides millions of dollars in tax revenue that pay for our school improvements, that pave the foundation that will build our future. A message from U.S. soybean farmers and their checkoff.
Doc Talk, brought to you by Kansas Pork Association, assisting producers and informing consumers.
Hi there and welcome back to Doc Talk. I'm Dr. Dan Thompson here from Kansas State University's College of Veterinary Medicine. I'm joined by Dr. Casey Olson, who's a ruminant nutritionist and professor over in the Department of Animal Science here in the College of Ag at Kansas State University. We had a great discussion on weaning calves and nutrition, and we've talked a lot about some of the tricks to the trade and things that you recommend and do with the cow herd here at K-State. And now, you know, at the beginning, we're talking about two routes, you know, program calves and retained ownership calves. And I think you have some information for people that are going to retain ownership that maybe they can do to save some money and some labor.
Yes. And let me give you a little insight into my thought process here. When we embarked on this research 7 years ago, we were really at a point in time where preconditioning was being highly touted, but there wasn't a lot of research to back up the actual processes involved. So we went back to square one. We investigated how many days prior to shipping to a feed yard that a calf should be weaned for optimal health and growth performance. We tested everything from 0 to 60 days. We looked at the timing of respiratory disease and clostridial disease vaccination, timing and degree. And we looked at also weaning method. Can we do it, for example, on a pasture instead of in a dry lot and have similar performance in the feed yard? So Dan, where should we take this?
Well, I think we ought to start right where you want to, but let's put the big rocks in the jar first and move towards the sand.
Well, we'll start with length of time that a calf should be weaned before shipping to a feed yard.
I think that's a big question.
In our investigations for a retained ownership calf, one that's not being enrolled in a program, so to speak, we found that 2 weeks of weaning prior to shipping is just as good as 60 days of weaning prior to shipping. It's better than 0, but no different from 60 days. From a vaccination standpoint, we found that we can touch that calf on the day of weaning, put those initial vaccines into that calf, and then again come back 2 weeks later, put the booster vaccines in, and save ourselves touching the cows and the calves on range one extra time.
Huge labor and wear and tear on cattle.
Absolutely. We found that probably the two biggest things that account for calf performance during receiving are the fact that the calf knows how to eat out of a bunk, knows how to drink out of an automatic watering device before it ever shows up at the feed yard. And then lastly, if a producer does not have the opportunity to wean into a dry lot and instead needs to do that on pasture, you can expect some pretty great things, but you still have to train that calf how to eat out of a bunk in that pasture environment. Gotcha. Knowing what a bunk is very critical. Pasture weaned calves generally are not going to perform as well as dry lot weaned calves during the receiving period. However, they do perform fairly well in that pre-weaning phase. Bottom line is there's no difference in time to finish to speak of, no difference in carcass merit between pasture weaned and dry lot weaned calves. There is a slowdown in performance, however, during the receiving period.
Well, I think it's some wonderful information. 7 years of research going into
7.
And appreciate all that you do. Appreciate you being here today.
Thank you, Dan. It's good to be here.
Appreciate y'all watching as well. Remember, we always recommend that you work with a local veterinarian. And if you want to know more about what Dr. Olson and I do here at K-State, you can find us on the web at www.vet.ksu.edu. I'm Dr. Dan Thompson here from Doc Talk. We're sure glad you joined us, and we'll see y'all.
Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, Progress, powered by Kansas farmers.
We'll have lots more for you tomorrow on Ag AM in Kansas. We're here every weekday, same time, same station. Or look for us on the web at agaminkansas.com. Eric Atkinson here from K-State Research and Extension.